Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the Rubicon Report. Of course, I'm here with Dr. Gerry Clum.
Hello, my friend.
Great to see
you
you.
again.
Great to see you too. Executive Director of the Rubicon Group. We have some exciting news to talk about today.
We sure do.
There has been a long-standing conversation about the idea of the vertebral subluxation.
Yes.
And I call it a conversation. It's probably more appropriate to call it a debate. For many years, would you call it something, a fight, an argument, something?
Yeah, it was. I don't think debate's a little bit too high level for what we had. It was closer to a brawl.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
However, we're here reporting today that we have actually gotten, I think the word is consensus.
We have.
That there is in fact a new document with a written definition of subluxation that 7 institutions have agreed to.
That's correct.
Tell us more.
Well, I think anybody who's been in the profession for more than 2 weeks knows what a significant issue the subject of subluxation has been, and the fact that we have been plagued by definitions that have gone back to times that were 60, 70, 80 years ago. Where the science has since caught up and disproven those respective theories and so on. But we're now at a point where we can articulate with the science that we have available today, we can articulate a 21st century perspective on subluxation, and that's exactly what the Rubicon Group has done. We took about a little over a year to begin this process, recognizing that this was really an Achilles heel for us, that we did not have a good defensible, science-based, evidence-oriented definition of what it was that we do. We understood what we do clinically. It didn't stop us from doing it, but we didn't have a very good explanation for it, is the bottom line.
And it's essential because that
It's
is the
essential.
focus
That's
of what
right.
we're
That's
doing as
right.
chiropractors.
It's core to who we are and what we are. So it became a very important point. And it resulted in one group saying that, this entity doesn't even exist, it's a figment of your imagination, and another entity, at the other end of the spectrum saying, of course it exists and, it's paramount to health and well-being and everything in between. So what we've done is we've taken a neuroscience approach to a definition. And then we've put that definition forward in a broader context to help contextualize the definition of what we mean. We have been very good at picking things apart as chiropractors, and if there's one word in there that we don't like, whoa, it's the end of the earth.
Right.
Well,
even though it may have multiple possible meanings, right?
And my meaning may be very different than yours,
That's
and
right.
they both may be very accurate.
That's right.
But we choose to interpret it in the least desirable light, and so on. So what we've done is we've put forward this definition, and it's available, and we encourage everyone to download it and to really spend some time, read it through carefully, and understand what it says, because we've put a lot of time into it and a lot of thought into it. And the contextualization discussion around it is our attempt to really head off at the pass those misunderstandings. And to say exactly what we mean, and the use of the language that when we say a central nervous system segmental motor dysfunction, that we make clear to everybody what that means. And that doesn't just mean that a subluxation is only motor in nature. And we clarify those things. So it's been a very comprehensive process for us to do this, and we've recently released this definition and the language around it, as well as a graphic to help people understand what we mean exactly by every phrase in that definition. And we hope that this is going to inspire a great deal more discussion. One of the very first things that we say in that definition is that we currently define a subluxation as such and such. And what we want to be very honest and upfront and say is that when the science changes, the definition may change, and that there's been no chisels and there's no stone, and that this has been done on a word processor, and it can be changed with the tap of a key, if the science is there that causes it to need to change.
Right.
And if science comes up that disproves something we've got in it, obviously we need to address that as well. but for the time being, based upon current evidence, we think that this is a very sound definition that begins to recognize the subluxation as a very multifaceted entity that at times one process may be an effect, and at the other time another process may be a cause that would lead to this problem. So it's a dynamic, it's a very interrelated discussion and definition, and we're excited to bring it to the table. The profession needs it, number one. Number two, it will help guide some of the ongoing research and dialogue and debate related to the profession and about the profession. And number three, we hope it serves as a rallying point for many communities in the profession that are concerned about this subject and having a good, solid, defensible definition, and that we can begin to develop some cohesion around this definition for the best interests of the profession in the long haul. So it's a very exciting moment. I'm not going to bother or ask you to go through reading it and so on. People could read on their own. And I'd ask them to read it very carefully, to read it several times over, and then pay attention to the language that surrounds it, and let's see if we can't move this idea forward.
Yeah.
It's an exciting time.
I completely agree with you. Are there any, for viewers watching, probably practicing chiropractors, are there any things you want to anticipate that will be concerns for them as they read it, or just sort of read it, absorb it, and know that 7 across the spectrum institutional presidents have all put it through their filters from, I guess, both sides of the aisle, and it seems to, for the most part, meet everybody's criteria enough to say, yes, we can agree to this. And I love the fact that, like most things in life, it is a learning process, that it can be a dynamic document as we learn more, it can learn with us.
As Oprah says, when I know more, I do. When I know better, I do better.
That's exactly
and when we know better, we'll do better.
Yeah, it's exciting. I think that hopefully there becomes some momentum, an avalanche effect of sort. This has been, being that it's the core of what we do as chiropractors, and it has been such a source of controversy, probably something that has held us back in a variety of ways for quite a long time.
And it has caused us to be subject to considerable criticism, and rightfully so.
Right.
So, you know, the 7 institutions that have subscribed to this, they each took it back to their own department, their research departments, their chiropractic sciences departments, their basic science folks had their input. That was brought into the picture. And, you know, this is where we are at this moment. And like I said, we hope other institutions will begin to take it on and to absorb what we mean by it. We have test-driven it with a couple audiences in the profession, and it has received very strong support on an unofficial basis before it's released. So we look forward to the profession entering a broader dialogue, and hopefully we can all learn something in the process.
I think one of the things I'm most inspired by is that you know, we're sort of entering a new phase where, you know, this definition, as you've said, is based on the latest science. And for those that claim to be science-oriented or evidence-based, you know, being that there hasn't been a lot of new research and so on until recently that I'm aware of, it was easy to fall into your older belief systems and just say, well, that's what science says, without having to grow. This, I think, changes that equation. The science of today, in fact, does support this. There is evidence to support the subluxation. I'm fascinated to watch how this all unfolds. For those that claim to be evidence-based and may choose not to, or for some reason criticize what there is, that's going to be a fascinating thing to watch.
Well, and we certainly understand that's going to be part and parcel of the process.
Right.
And we welcome that, and we hopefully that will stay within a realm of a healthy, constructive dialogue. And clearly, you know, there is need for more research on each of the conclusions that have been reached. There's need for reinforcing research and so on. But the fact remains, everything we have said in that definition is defensible from a neurological perspective, and we can build on that.
Love it. I love it. Well, thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching another edition of the Rubicon Report. If you've got questions or comments, please leave them below. And like all of the Rubicon reports, we appreciate you sharing them with our colleagues, other professionals, and people that you know that should be rallying behind moving the profession forward in this very cooperative way. And again, thank you for your leadership
Thank you,
and all that you do for helping the profession.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching another edition of the Rubicon Report.